The bright white lights hurt Vextar's eyes. He lay on the cold metal table, thick straps holding his arms and legs down. His scaled skin was covered in bandages and burn marks. Every breath sent pain through his broken ribs. The door opened with a soft hiss. A human walked in, not very tall, with dark hair and cold eyes. The human wore a blue uniform with silver marks on his shoulders. His name tag read Commander Do-hyun. "Good morning, Vextar," the human said in perfect Kethmore language. His voice was calm and steady. "How are you feeling?" Vextar said nothing. He stared at the ceiling and tried to ignore the pain. His yellow eyes were dull and tired. Do-hyun pulled up a chair and sat down next to the table. "I know you understand me. Your people are good at learning languages, just like we are." The alien's head turned slightly. He looked at the human with suspicion. "I want to talk about what happened on Kepler 442c, Do-hyun said. 3 weeks ago. You remember, don't you?" Vextar's breathing got faster. His hands made fists under the straps. "I will tell you nothing, human." "That's fine," Do-hyun said. He opened a small device and showed Vextar a picture. "Do you know what this is?" The image showed a large spaceship, Kethmore design. It was painted in war colors. "That's the Bone Crusher, your people's newest battleship. It's heading toward the human colony on New Sol right now, along with 12 other ships just like it." Vextar's eyes went wide. "No, the High Command would never—" "They would never what? Attack innocent families? Women and children?" Do-hyun leaned forward.
"Just like your war captain Threndar did on our colony?"
"That was different," Vextar snapped. Threndar was acting alone. He wanted glory. The High Command did not know. But they know now, and they're angry, very angry. Do-hyun showed another picture, this time of burning buildings. "This is what's left of the trade station on Harmony Point. Your people did this yesterday." Vextar looked away. His voice became quiet. "The High Command thinks all humans are weak. They think you are easy to defeat. And what do you think?" The alien was quiet for a long time. When he finally spoke, his voice shook. "I think they are making a terrible mistake." Do-hyun put the device away. "Tell me what happened on Kepler 442c. You already know what happened. Your people won. My people died. End of story." "No, that's not the end. That's just the beginning." Do-hyun stood up and walked around the table. 200 of your best warriors went to that planet. Fully armed, fully trained. They were going to kill human families. Vextar's breathing got heavier. Only 7 humans were there to stop them. 7. Not 200. Not even 20. 7. "I know the numbers," Vextar whispered. "Then you know why the Galactic Council is asking questions. How did 7 humans kill 200 Kethmore warriors? What kind of weapons did they use? What kind of training?" Vextar turned his head to look at Do-hyun. "You want to know our weaknesses?" "No," Do-hyun said. "I want to know our strengths. But more importantly, I want to know what you learned about us, what you're going to tell your people when you get home." "Home?" Vextar laughed, but it sounded bitter. "You think I'm going home?" "Of course. In a few days, actually. We're going to patch you up, give you a ship, and send you back to Kethmore space." Do-hyun sat down again. "With a message." "What message?" "That depends on what you tell me about Kepler 442c. Vextar closed his eyes. He was quiet for several minutes. Do-hyun waited patiently. "You don't understand," Vextar finally said. "Your people. They're not what the galaxy thinks they are." "What do you mean?" "Everyone knows humans as peaceful, diplomatic. You avoid fights. You make deals instead of war. The Galactic Council loves you because you always find peaceful solutions." "That's true." "No, it's not." Vextar opened his eyes and looked directly at Do-hyun. "That's just what you want everyone to think." Do-hyun's expression didn't change, but he leaned forward slightly. "Go on. What I saw on that planet? What your people did to my squad?" Vextar's voice got quieter. "They weren't soldiers fighting a battle. They were predators hunting prey. Tell me about the hunt." Vextar shook his head. "You don't understand. If I tell other species what really happened, if they learn the truth about humans in war—" He paused. "Everything will change. Change how? The galaxy will fear you. Really fear you. Not just respect your diplomacy or admire your peaceful ways. They will fear you the way small animals fear wolves." Do-hyun was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, "Is that such a bad thing? For you? Maybe not. For the rest of us?" Vextar looked up at the bright lights. "Yes. The Bone Crusher and those other ships are still heading toward New Sol. 40,000 human civilians live there, mostly families, children. Vextar closed his eyes again. If I tell my people what I think they'll find there, they might turn around. Go home, pretend this never happened. And if you don't tell them, then they'll learn the same lesson your war captain learned. But they'll learn it the hard way. Vextar was quiet for a long time. Finally, he sighed. What do you want to know? Everything. Start from the beginning. When did your people first decide to attack our colony? 3 weeks ago. War Captain Threndar received reports that humans had built an illegal settlement on Kepler 442c. Ancient Kethmore burial grounds were there. Sacred land. Was it really sacred land? Vextar looked at him with surprise. You don't know? I know. But I want to hear you say it. The alien's shoulders sagged. No, it wasn't sacred. Threndar lied. He wanted a war. He thought fighting humans would bring him honor. Make him famous. So he took 200 warriors to kill innocent people for personal glory. Yes. Du-hyun nodded. And what did he find when he got there? Vextar's hands started shaking under the straps. He found something much worse than innocent people. What did he find? He found humans who knew he was coming. Humans who were ready. Humans who had been waiting. Du-hyun pulled out his device again. Tell me about the waiting. 3 weeks earlier, Vextar felt excited as their ship flew toward Kepler 442c. He was young for a Kethmore warrior, but he had trained hard. This would be his first real battle. War Captain Threndar stood at the front of the troop base speaking to his warriors. Remember, these are just human farmers. They have no real weapons, no military training. This will be quick and clean. The other warriors laughed and made jokes. Humans were known across the galaxy as weak and peaceful. Most had never even seen a real weapon. Intelligence reports say about 50 humans live in the colony, Threndar continued. Mostly families with children. They grow food and mine basic metals. Nothing dangerous. Vextar checked his plasma rifle one more time. It could cut through steel or vaporize flesh. His armor was thick and strong. Like all his squad mates, he could lift twice his own weight and run for hours without getting tired. What about their government? Asked Sergeant Krevmar. Will human military come to help them? Threndar shook his head. The nearest human military base is 6 jumps away. By the time they get a distress signal and send ships, we'll be long gone. The ship shook slightly as they entered the planet's atmosphere. Through the small windows, Vextar could see green forests and blue rivers. It looked peaceful. Remember, Threndar said as they prepared to land. We're here to remove illegal settlers from sacred Kethmore land. Quick, clean, and professional. But Vextar had heard the real reason from other warriors. Threndar wanted to make a name for himself. Killing humans would look good on his record, maybe get him promoted. They landed in 3 drop ships around the human colony. The buildings looked simple. Wooden houses, metal storage sheds, and solar panels. Smoke came from a few chimneys. Everything looked normal. Teams Alpha, Beta, and Gamma move in. Threndar ordered through the comm. Secure all buildings. Round up any humans you find. Vextar was in Beta team with 9 other warriors. They moved toward the center of the colony, weapons ready. The place was strangely quiet. Where is everyone? Asked Private Nektar. Their team leader, Sergeant Vulcan, motioned for them to spread out. Check every building. They might be hiding. Vextar kicked open the door of the first house. Inside, he found a kitchen with food still on the table. The bread was warm. A cup of coffee was still hot. Someone was here very recently, he reported. In the next house, toys were scattered on the floor. A children's book lay open on a chair. The bed was unmade, like someone had just gotten up. Alpha Team report, came Threndar's voice. Same thing here, Captain. Empty houses, but signs of recent activity. No bodies, no blood, no signs of struggle. Gamma Team? Nothing, sir. It's like they all just vanished. Vextar felt uneasy. Where could 50 people disappear to so quickly? And why was their food still warm? Maybe they saw us coming, suggested Nektar. Ran into the forest. Impossible, Vulcan replied. Our ships were running silent. No way they detected us. They continued searching. Every building told the same story. Recently abandoned, but no signs of panic or violence. In one house, Vextar found a television still playing a human news program. This is weird, he said to himself. Beta Team, check the school building, ordered Threndar. The school was larger than the houses. Inside, they found classrooms with small desks and colorful pictures on the walls. In one room, there were art projects that looked recently finished. Vextar picked up a drawing made by a human child. It showed a family standing in front of their house under a bright sun. Everyone was smiling. "Contact," suddenly came Alpha Team's voice over the comm. "We have eyes on 2 humans near the communication building. Capture them alive," Threndar ordered. "We need information." Vextar and his team ran toward Alpha Team's position. When they got there, they found the other warriors standing around looking confused. "Where are they?" asked Vulcan. "They were right here," said Alpha Team's leader. "A man and a woman, both young. They saw us coming and ran behind that building. Did you follow them?" "Of course we followed them. But when we got around the corner, they were gone. Just gone." Threndar arrived with Gamma Team. His face showed anger and frustration. 200 trained warriors can't catch 2 human civilians? "Sir, they moved very fast. Faster than normal humans should be able to move." "Nonsense. Search the forest. They can't have gone far." But before anyone could move, Private Zirkel's voice came over the comm. He sounded scared. "Captain, something's wrong with the communication equipment." "What do you mean wrong?" "Someone cut all the cables." "Not damaged in a fight, carefully cut, like they knew exactly what they were doing." Threndar's eyes narrowed. "Professional sabotage." "More than that, sir. They didn't just cut communication to the outside. They also sabotaged our equipment. We can't call for pickup." A chill went down Vextar's spine. How did simple farmers know how to sabotage military communication gear? "Sir," came another voice. This time from Private Hekmar, who had stayed near the landing zone. "We have a problem with the ships." "What kind of problem?" "Someone damaged the fuel systems. All 3 ships. We're not going anywhere until we fix them." The forest around them suddenly felt much darker and more dangerous. Vextar looked at the trees and wondered what might be hiding there. "All teams, defensive positions," Threndar ordered. "Something is not right here." As they moved to secure the colony center, Vextar noticed something that made his blood run cold. In the dirt near one of the buildings, there were footprints. Human footprints. But these prints were different from normal footprints. They were too deep, like the person was carrying extra weight, and they moved in patterns, not running in panic but moving with purpose and control. "Sergeant Vulcan," he called quietly. "What is it?" "Look at these tracks." Vulcan studied the footprints for a moment. His face went pale. "These aren't farmers, Vextar." "What do you mean?" "The way they move, the weight distribution, the spacing between step." Vulcan looked up at the forest. "These are military tracks. Professional soldiers." Before Vextar could ask more questions, a scream came from the eastern edge of the colony. Then silence. "Gamma Team, report," Threndar called. No answer. Gamma Team, respond immediately. Still nothing. Threndar's voice got harder. "All teams, move to Gamma Team's last position. Stay together, stay alert." As they moved through the colony, Vextar felt like invisible eyes were watching them. The empty buildings seemed to hide shadows that moved just out of sight. When they reached Gamma Team's position, they found something that made every warrior stop in shock. Gamma Team's equipment was scattered on the ground. Weapons, armor pieces, communication devices, all left behind. But no bodies, no blood, no signs of struggle. 10 fully armed Kethmore warriors had simply vanished without a trace. The next few hours became a nightmare that Vextar would never forget. War Captain Threndar ordered all remaining warriors to form a defensive circle in the colony's main square. They had lost contact with Gamma Team completely, and now strange things were happening all around them. "Motion sensors show movement in the forest," reported Sergeant Krevmar. "But every time we investigate, there's nothing there." "Equipment keeps failing," added another warrior. "First communications, then transport. Now our sensors are acting up." Vexitar crouched behind an overturned table, his rifle pointed toward the tree line. The humans were out there somewhere, he could feel it. But where? "Contact!" shouted Private Mulder from the colony's eastern side. "I see them." Everyone turned to look. Through the trees, they could see figures moving. Definitely human-shaped, but moving in ways that seemed wrong. Too fast, too smooth, like they were floating instead of running. "Open fire," ordered Threndar. Plasma bolts lit up the forest, burning through trees and undergrowth. The sound was deafening. When the firing stopped, smoke drifted through the air. "Did we hit them?" asked someone. Sergeant Vulcan used his scope to scan the area. "I don't see any bodies. Wait." His voice changed. "Captain, you need to see this." Threndar took the scope and looked where Vulcan was pointing. In the burned area, there were marks in the ground, places where someone had been lying down completely flat, while the plasma bolts flew over their heads. They knew we were going to shoot, Threndar said quietly. They got down before we even pulled the triggers. How is that possible? Asked Vextar. Before anyone could answer, a new voice came over their communication channel. A human voice speaking perfect Kethmore language. War Captain Threndar. Can you hear me? Everyone froze. Threndar grabbed his communicator. Who is this? Lieutenant Hyunwoo, Colonial Defense Force. I think we need to talk. Where are my warriors? What did you do with Gamma Team? They're safe. Unconscious, but safe. We don't kill unnecessarily. Threndar's face showed confusion and anger. You're lying. Humans don't take prisoners. You're too weak. There was a pause. Then the human laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. Captain, I think there's been a misunderstanding. May I suggest a meeting? Just you and me. No weapons. So you can ambush me? Captain, if we wanted to ambush you, you'd already be dead. The words sent ice through Vextar's veins. The way the human said it, so calm, so sure, made it sound like simple fact. You have 200 warriors, Hyunwoo continued. We have 7. If we were planning to fight you fairly, we would have brought more people. Then why didn't you? Because we didn't need more people. Threndar looked around at his remaining warriors. They had started with 200. Now they were down to about 170. Gamma Team was gone, and several others had disappeared one by one during the day. What do you want? Threndar asked. I want you to leave. Take your ships. We fixed the fuel systems, by the way, one and go home. Tell your people that Kepler 442c is not available for settlement. This is Kethmore land. No, Captain. This is human land. We've been here for 2 years. We have legal settlement papers from the Galactic Council. Vextar saw Threndar's face go red. You're lying. Check your data files. We transmitted copies to your ship when you arrived. Your computer has been beeping for hours trying to tell you. Sergeant Krevmar quickly checked his portable computer. His face went pale. Captain? He's right. Legal settlement, properly filed, all in order. Then why didn't you just tell us that when we landed? Threndar shouted into the communicator. We tried. You started shooting before we could talk. Vextar remembered the landing. Had there been attempts at communication? He thought there might have been, but Threndar had ordered immediate attack. Besides, the human continued, you came here to kill civilians. Even if this wasn't legal settlement, that would still be murder. We came here to remove illegal settlers. No, Captain. You came here for personal glory. Your own warriors know it. We've been listening to their conversations all day. How were they listening? Kethmore communication channels were supposed to be secure. Here's what's going to happen, Hyunwoo said. You're going to call your remaining teams back to the landing zone. You're going to get on your ships, and you're going to leave. And if we refuse, then we'll continue our current strategy until there's no one left to refuse. Threndar looked around at his warriors. Many of them looked scared now. The humans had been picking them off all day, and no one had even seen how they were doing it. You can't fight all of us at once, Threndar said. Captain, we're not fighting you. We're hunting you. There's a difference. Before Threndar could respond, screams came from the western perimeter. 3 more warriors had vanished. Alpha Team, report. Threndar called. They're gone, sir. Jendar, Moxel, and Telvar. They were right next to us, then they just weren't. Vextar felt panic rising in his chest. How could 3 armed warriors just disappear? Captain, came a whisper over the comm. It was Private Weknar, and he sounded terrified. I can see one of the humans. Where? In the building to my left. 2nd floor window. Everyone looked. In the window they could see a human figure. Small, probably female with dark hair. She wasn't hiding. She was just standing there watching them. Take the shot, ordered Threndar. Weknar aimed his rifle and fired. The plasma bolt hit the window perfectly. But when the smoke cleared, the human was gone. Did you get her? I don't know. She was there, then she wasn't. Check it out. Vulcan, take a team. Sergeant Vulcan led 5 warriors toward the building. They moved carefully, covering each other. Vextar watched them disappear inside. Minutes passed. No communication from the team. Vulcan, report. Silence. All teams converge on that building. Now. The remaining warriors rushed toward the structure. When they got inside, they found Vulcan's team unconscious on the floor. Their weapons and armor had been carefully removed and stacked in a corner, But more disturbing was what they found on the wall. Someone had written a message in Kethmore script. "You're learning. Good. There are still 6 of us active. How many of you are left?" Threndar stared at the message. 6 humans did this? 6? Hyunwoo's voice came over the communicator again. Actually 7. Corporal Boram was just moving to a new position when your warriors arrived. She doesn't like to be seen unless she wants to be. "This is impossible," Threndar whispered. "No, Captain. This is just Tuesday for us." Vextar looked around at his fellow warriors. Fear was replacing confidence. These weren't the weak, peaceful humans they had expected to find. "What are you people?" Threndar asked. "We're colonists, just like we told you. We grow food, mine metals, raise our children. But we're also veterans. Veterans of what? The Nexus campaign. The Void War, the Crystal Rebellion. We've fought in places where being human meant learning to adapt quickly or dying slowly." Vextar had never heard of those conflicts. But the way Hyunwoo said the names made them sound terrible. "We came here to retire from military life," the human continued, "to live in peace. But we never forgot our training." 7 veterans against 200 warriors, Threndar said. "Yes. And Captain, we haven't even started trying yet." War Captain Threndar made the decision that doomed his remaining warriors. "All teams fall back to the landing zone," he ordered. "We're leaving this planet." Vextar felt relief wash over him. Finally, they were getting away from this nightmare. Around him, the other warriors also looked relieved. They had started the day with confidence and superior numbers. Now they just wanted to survive. "Move in formation," Threndar continued. "Stay together, watch each other's backs. These humans are tricky, but they can't stop a full retreat." The remaining 130 Kethmore warriors began moving toward their ships. They walked in tight groups, weapons ready, constantly scanning the forest around them. "Captain," came Lieutenant Hyunwoo's voice over the communicator, "you're making the right choice. Safe travels. You won't try to stop us?" Threndar asked suspiciously. "Why would we? You're leaving. That's what we wanted." But Vextar noticed something in the human's voice, a tone that made his scales prickle with worry. The human sounded too friendly, too helpful. As they walked through the colony, Vextar saw more evidence of how completely the humans had outthought them. Everywhere he looked, he saw signs of preparation. Hidden cameras watching their movements. Small holes in walls where weapons could be fired from cover. Trapdoors that could be opened to drop warriors into pits. "They knew," he whispered to Private Nektar. "They knew exactly how we would move, where we would go, what we would do." "How could they know that?" "They studied us. Before we ever got here, they studied our tactics, our behavior, everything. The forest around the path to the landing zone looked peaceful. Birds sang in the trees. Small animals ran through the undergrowth. Everything seemed normal, too normal. "This feels wrong," muttered Sergeant Krevmar. "Why isn't anything happening?" As if answering his question, explosions suddenly erupted around them. Not fatal explosions, just loud bangs and bright flashes that scared the wildlife and made the warriors jump. "They're trying to panic us," Threndar shouted. "Stay calm. Keep moving." But the explosions had another effect. They separated the group. Warriors dove for cover behind trees and rocks, breaking their careful formation. In seconds, the organized retreat became scattered individuals trying to find safety. "Regroup," Threndar ordered. "Get back in formation." As the warriors tried to regroup, some of them simply weren't there anymore. Vextar looked around frantically. Where was Nektar? He had been right next to him a moment ago. "Sound off," Threndar called. "Everyone report." As the names were called, it became clear that 12 more warriors had vanished during the confusion. Just gone like they had never existed. "How are they doing this?" asked someone. The answer came from above them. Looking up, Vextar saw a human hanging upside down from a tree branch. It was a young woman, probably the one called Boram. She waved at them cheerfully, then disappeared back into the leaves. "The trees," Vextar breathed. "They're in the trees." But when the warriors aimed their weapons upward and scanned the branches, they saw nothing. The humans moved through the forest canopy like they had been born there. "Forget them," Threndar shouted. "Just get to the ships." They ran now, abandoning caution for speed. The landing zone was only half a mile away. If they could just reach their ships, they could escape. But as they ran, Vextar noticed something terrifying. The humans weren't chasing them. They were herding them. Every time a warrior started to move in the wrong direction, something would happen to guide them back onto the main path. A warning shot. A falling branch. A noise in the bushes. We're going exactly where they want us to go, he realized. The landing zone came into view through the trees. Their 3 ships sat where they had left them, looking undamaged. But something was wrong with the scene. Where are the guards? Asked Krevmar. We left 20 warriors to protect the ships. The landing zone was empty except for their vessels. No guards, no signs of struggle, just empty ground and silence. Tread carefully, Threndar warned. As they approached the ships, they found the 20 guards. All of them were unconscious, neatly arranged in rows like they were sleeping. Their weapons and equipment had been removed and stacked nearby. Are they dead? Someone asked. Vextar knelt beside one of the guards and checked for vital signs. No, just unconscious. But look at this. Each guard had a small dart in their neck. The darts were tiny, almost invisible. Tranquilizer darts, said Threndar. They put them to sleep. But when and how? 20 armed warriors don't just fall asleep at the same time. Lieutenant Hyunwoo's voice came over the communicator again. The darts were fired from a distance, Captain. Your guards never saw us coming. Specialist Jae-hyuk is very good with a rifle. You drugged my warriors? We prefer non-lethal solutions when possible. Violence should be the last option, not the first. Threndar looked around at his remaining warriors. They were down to about 90 now. Get on the ships. All of you now. As the Kethmore warriors rushed toward their vessels, Vextar noticed more problems. The ship doors were open, but the lights inside were off. The usual hum of engines and life support systems was missing. The ships aren't running, he said. Someone shut down the power systems, reported the pilot of the first ship. But I can restart them. Give me a few minutes. We don't have a few minutes, Threndar snapped. Those humans are still out there. Actually, we're right here. The voice came from inside the ship. Everyone spun around to see a human male standing in the doorway. Tall, calm, with intelligent eyes. This had to be Lieutenant Hyunwoo. Hello, Captain, he said politely. I wanted to talk to you before you left. Threndar raised his weapon, but Hyunwoo held up his hand. Before you shoot, you should know that my team has your ship surrounded. If anything happens to me, you won't be leaving this planet. You're bluffing. Am I? Look around. Vextar looked carefully at the forest edge around the landing zone. At first he saw nothing. Then gradually he began to notice small signs. A glint of light that might be a weapon scope. A shadow that moved slightly. A branch that bent in a way that suggested someone was hiding behind it. The humans had been watching them the entire time. Waiting. What do you want? Threndar asked. I want you to understand something, Captain. Today was not a battle. It was a lesson. What kind of lesson? A lesson about underestimating humans. Hyunwoo stepped closer. You came here expecting to find weak farmers. Instead, you found trained soldiers who knew you were coming. How did you know? Your ship sent identification signals when it entered our system. We looked up your war captain's service record, saw his history of unprovoked attacks, realized what he was probably planning. Threndar's face went red. That information is classified. Not to us. We're very good at finding information. Vextar felt cold understanding wash over him. You've been planning this for weeks. Months, actually. Ever since we detected your scouting ships in nearby systems. We knew someone was planning to attack human colonies. We just didn't know when or where. So you set a trap. We prepared a demonstration. There's a difference. Hyunwoo gestured toward the unconscious guards. We could have killed every one of your warriors, Captain. Instead, we captured them, studied your tactics, and learned how your people fight. All without taking a single life. Why? Because the information we gathered today is more valuable than dead enemies. We now know how Kethmore military thinks, moves, and reacts under pressure. The terrible truth hit Vextar like a physical blow. This wasn't about protecting your colony. This was about gathering intelligence. Very good. You're learning. Threndar looked confused. Intelligence for what? Hyunwoo smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. For the next time someone decides to attack human civilians, Captain. We'll be ready. Back in the interrogation room, Vextar finished his story. His voice was quiet and shaking. Commander Do-hyun had listened to everything without interrupting. That's when Lieutenant Hyunwoo let us go, Vextar said. He gave us back our ships, our weapons, even medical supplies for the wounded. But he kept one thing. What? Our pride, our confidence, our belief that humans were weak. Vextar looked directly at Do-hyun. He wanted us to go home afraid. Do-hyun leaned back in his chair. And did it work? I've been having nightmares for 3 weeks. Every time I close my eyes, I see those humans moving through the forest like ghosts. I hear Lieutenant Hyunwoo's voice so calm while he destroyed everything we thought we knew about your species. What did you tell your superiors when you returned? Vextar was quiet for a long moment. I told them the truth. That 7 human veterans defeated 200 of our best warriors without even trying hard. And how did they react? They didn't believe me. They said humans had used some kind of advanced technology, or that we had been drugged, or that I was making excuses for Threndar's failure. Do-hyun nodded. That's why they sent more ships to attack New Seoul. Yes, the High Command thinks your people got lucky once. They want to prove that humans are still weak. But you don't think we're weak anymore, do you? Vextar shuddered. Commander, I think your species is the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. And the worst part is that most species still don't know it. Explain. Every other species fights for territory or resources or honor. When they win, they take what they want and leave. When they lose, they retreat and try again later. War is just war. Do-hyun waited. But humans don't fight wars. You solve problems. And you solve them completely. Vexitar's voice got quieter. When Lieutenant Hyunwoo fought us, he wasn't trying to win a battle. He was trying to make sure no one would ever attack human colonies again. Did it work? For me, yes, I would never fight humans again. But for my species, Vextar shook his head. They think I'm a coward. They're sending bigger fleets, better weapons, more warriors. What do you think will happen to those fleets? The same thing that happened to us. But worse, because now your people have had time to study us, to prepare, to plan. Do-hyun stood up and walked to the window. Outside, they could see the stars. Vextar, I want to tell you something that might surprise you. Lieutenant Hyunwoo's mission wasn't just about protecting one colony. What do you mean? That operation was a test. We wanted to see how well our veterans could handle a traditional military force using minimal resources. Vextar felt his blood turn to ice. A test? We've been preparing for larger conflicts for some time. Your attack gave us a chance to field test our methods. Larger conflicts with who? Do-hyun turned back to face him. With anyone who thinks humans are easy targets. The alien stared at the human commander. How many more operations like Kepler 4.2c have you conducted? 17 different star systems. Various alien species. Different scenarios each time. Do-hyun sat back down. We've learned how to counter Rigelian battle tactics, Centauri pack hunting, vegan hive minds, and a dozen other military strategies. You've been using our attacks as training exercises, not just training. Research. Every species that attacks human settlements teaches us something. New about galactic military thinking. Vextar felt sick. We're not your enemies. We're your laboratory subjects. Only if you attack us first. We've never started a fight, Vextar, but we've gotten very good at finishing them. The galaxy needs to know about this, does it? What exactly would you tell them? Vextar thought about it. That humans are not peaceful farmers. That you're actually military strategists who have been preparing for war while pretending to want peace. But that's not true, is it? We do want peace. We came to these colonies to live quiet lives, grow food, raise our children. We only fight when someone forces us to. But you're so good at it. Yes, we're very good at it. Because we've had lots of practice. Do-hyun pulled out his datapad and showed Vextar a star map. Do you know what this shows? Human territory? Human colonies that have been attacked in the last 2 years. 47 different systems. 33 different alien species. Over 15,000 attempted raids, attacks, and invasion attempts. Vextar stared at the display. That many? Most species see humans as easy targets. Peaceful, diplomatic, technologically inferior. They think they can take whatever they want from us. And they're wrong. Very wrong. Because every attack teaches us more about how to defend ourselves. And every defense becomes more efficient than the last. Do-hyun switched to another display. This shows human colonies that have been successfully conquered by alien forces in the same time period. The display was blank. 0, Do-hyun said simply. Not one successful attack. Not one human colony captured. Not one human civilian killed by enemy action. How is that possible? Because we don't just defend ourselves, Vextar. We make sure that anyone who attacks us regrets it so much that they never try again. The alien warrior felt despair wash over him. Then why are you letting me go home? Why tell me all this? Because I want you to deliver a message to every species in the galaxy. What message? Do-hyun leaned forward. That humans are still peaceful. We still prefer diplomacy to violence. We still want to live in harmony with our galactic neighbors. But if you attack our civilians, if you threaten our children, if you try to take what we've built with our own hands." Do-hyun's voice became very quiet and very cold. "Then you will discover what humans are really capable of. And what are humans really capable of? We're capable of learning from every mistake our enemies make. We're capable of turning their own strengths against them. We're capable of fighting wars so efficiently that our enemies forget why they wanted to fight in the first place." Vextar closed his eyes. "The galaxy is going to change, isn't it? It's already changing. The only question is whether other species will learn from your experience or whether they'll have to learn the hard way. What about the fleets heading toward New Sol?" Do-hyun smiled. "What fleets?" "The Kethmore battle groups. The ones you showed me pictures of." "Oh, those. They turned around 6 hours ago. Apparently, they received some very disturbing intelligence reports about human military capabilities." Vextar stared at him. "You mean, your testimony today was transmitted to Kethmore High Command in real time, along with tactical analysis of your defeat and projections of what would happen to larger forces? You were recording everything?" "Of course. And now your leaders know exactly what kind of enemy they would be facing. They've decided that Kethmore Space has better things to do than test human defenses." The alien felt a mixture of relief and terror. Relief that his people were safe. Terror at how easily the humans had manipulated the entire situation. "One last question, Vextar. When you go home, what will you tell your people about humans?" The alien thought carefully before answering. "I'll tell them that humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, but only if you make them angry. I'll tell them that your peace is real, but your war is beyond anything we can imagine." "And will they believe you?" "Some will. The smart ones. The ones who want to live." Do-hyun stood up. "Your ship is ready. You'll find medical supplies, food, and fuel for the journey home. Also, a complete recording of this conversation to share with your government." "Why are you being so generous?" "Because generosity is also a weapon, Vextar. When people hear how well we treated a defeated enemy, they'll know we could have chosen to be much less kind." As Vextar was led away to his ship, he realized the most terrifying truth of all. The humans had won this war before it even started, not through superior weapons or technology, but through superior thinking. They had turned every attack against them into a lesson, every enemy into a teacher, every conflict into an opportunity to grow stronger, and now they were ready for whatever came next. The galaxy would never be the same.